Would that be okay?
And I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm recording this meeting just so that you're aware.
Yes. Um, okay. Okay, everybody, welcome to this first town hall, or rather café meeting, a leadership café meeting of Lycée Français de la Nouvelle-Orléans for the year 2020-21. As we all know, we started the year in a different mode, and because we started the year in a different mode, we want to make sure that our community have access to as many information as possible, and we will be continue to do some meetings such as this one, where we gather information as to what are the things that you perhaps still need answers to. We collect them, we put the information together in a PowerPoint presentation that is also visual, so that we can and discuss in with us, and as well as putting then this information on other areas of where we communicate. For example, linking it to Être à la page, putting it on the FAQ section of our website. And therefore, this can be accessible also to those parents who are not able to join us today. And the information is there, is readily available. And then we'll continue to have meetings such as this one as the school year move on. You may have noticed that this year because of this virtual environment, and because we are not able to see each other, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, etc., and maybe being able to answer questions on the spot. We try to, again, having the specific pages on the website, try to communicate differently with, again, office hours, the FAQ session, these kinds of forums, and keep you as informed as possible. Of course, you always reach out to your teachers, to us as administrators, every time you have any question that is not answered. I also wanted to say before we start that I'm pretty sure that some of you have family in southern Louisiana, and with all that's happened, the thing was all we need is the hurricane, and we ended up with two, right? So we want to, certainly have those that are suffering right now in the southern, portion of our state. Think about them, and certainly think about any of you who may have family there or friends that are currently in a situation of emergency. So I just wanted to say that because it's important, and how important it was for us when we were in a similar predicament. So we hold everybody dear to our heart, and we're thinking of all of those students also whose school is being disrupted by the hurricane, on top of everything else, and how lucky we are that at least we can hang on to what we have and do the best of it. So with that said, I want to introduce Hannah Benenson, our high school, middle and high school principal, and Danielle Dufourchard, our lower school principal. I'm Marina Shane, for those who don't know me, and perhaps new parents, and I am the CEO of Lycée Français. We have other school leaders that have joined us today that are also listening in and are being with us today. So what I'd like to do is to perhaps let you know how this process is going to be evolving. We have collected your questions on that came from the survey, and we collected them by theme. Some of the questions may have been the same, and so we consolidated them. And for every question, we have the question and the question and the and of course and the answers. And so we can move on to the very first one, Hannah, and I believe you will answer this question, correct?
Yes.
So go ahead.
Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Hannah Benenson, the principal of the Johnson campus, upper school, grades 3 through 10 this year. And we're glad that you could come and join us. And we're hopeful to do more events like this in the future if it is meaningful and helpful in our virtual environment, connecting parents to information. So on this slide, important question, and Danielle and I will both address this, about attendance. So we researched, we talked to a lot of different schools about how to do attendance legally well and in a supportive way during this time. So we do have a legal obligation to report attendance, unlike the spring when the state was kind of waiving those requirements. We do need to report attendance, but it is up to the school to determine how to do that since we're not physically in the building. So it's about determining the number of minutes that students are engaging with academic curriculum. And so we will have posted the specific policies because they're slightly different from Patton to Johnson. We will post those, but just to give you some general overview on it, one important thing to know is that we are, from now through when we return from Labor Day, this is a time where teachers are taking attendance all day, and we're reaching out to families who might not be connected to make sure that everyone can get connected. But this is not a time of reporting to the state about absences. Like, we are in general counting kids present because we know families are trying, and overall kudos to families because we've had really high attendance across the board. So we're really thankful for that. But then starting after Labor Day is when we will have a system where essentially there's a number that is calculated of either the direct live videos or families who are accessing the pre-recorded videos if they maybe need to do it at a different time in the day, given work or other circumstances going on for each family. So there'll be a total number calculated of lessons completed, and that will determine the total attendance for the week. So opposed to like a student missed Tuesday afternoon specifically, that total number of sessions will be added up, and then with lots of grace and leeway given for families. So it's not expected that every student is perfectly in every single session all the time. Of course, we want students in sessions as much as possible. We know that's what's best for their learning, but we also understand that sometimes the power just goes out or the internet drops. So there is some leeway with that, similar to, there's sometimes a little bit of leeway with arriving to school or needing to be checked out to go to an appointment. In any case, there will be that quantity of time to be considered full 5 days present. And then any extreme number of courses that are missed would be taken off from the end of the week. So Friday would be marked absent if a student misses a large number of courses over the whole week. Then Thursday would go next, Wednesday would go next, only in the event that students are missing a large number of the recorded or live sessions. And the exact breakdown of that will be shared in a document for each campus, posted on the website and shared out with the parents.
I'll just add a little bit to that for the Patton campus. It will be similar to the Johnson campus. However, we do have basically our care team that reaches out every Wednesday. So families should be receiving calls as to like how your child is actually doing in the virtual setting. So we want to be able to keep that connectivity between and relationship between our campus and our family, so we know exactly where everyone is in this unprecedented situation. We will be taking attendance per that policy starting September the 1st. But there will be times where parents can reach out to their teachers to kind of let them know, which some of you have already done so, in reference to, like, I am working during the week. Can my child complete assignments? So attendance will be based on the synchronous and asynchronous sessions, and then evidence of being able to complete those assignments overall. For Patton also, the attendance will be taken on a weekly basis. And the asynchronous activities will have a posted date in which they will need to be completed. As I said before, the care teams will be contacting parents for any concerns, to verify access to, like, the virtual content or resources that are provided. And we will provide more information in reference to that policy by September the 1st. Hannah, if you want to go to the next slide. So the next slide talks about grading. We decided to go with a simplified system for grading where there will be fewer grades in total. And Hannah talk a little bit more about categories. For Patton, just an overview. We have a French category, a math category, and ELA category, and there will be a certain number of grades provided for those categories. And then also we will be providing a participation and an engagement grade for the Patton campus. As it says here, there are specific grading policies, and those will be posted on September the 1st.
Yes, so pretty much the same for Johnson. Just wanting to really emphasize, and especially for middle high students, that the goal of this is simplification, because they have a lot of classes, and if we're in session, they have a lot of grades. So we're trying to reduce that number and make it very clear and streamlined. So there's homework and participation and engagement, there's assessment, and then like an end of term kind of grade. So we're really trying to simplify that and make it very clear for everyone, and also trying to very much reward and encourage participation and engagement, because we know that's how they're going to learn best, is if they're really clued in and connecting during this time of virtual learning.
This question came likely before we sent out information to pre-K tuition-based pre-K families, pre-K4 families. And so, you know, you should all have received, and I know you've been communicating with Jessica Aries at our business office. However, if you have not, any questions that have to do with the tuition-based questions are going to be answered by Jessica at jaris@lfno.org. Therefore, please relate any questions and concerns at this email address. Thank you, Elaine. And we also had some questions about the calendar. Will the school be adhering to the 2021 calendar posted on the website? We are evaluating some amendments to the school calendar, and any changes. We also had, you know, a couple of days closure, but, you know, regardless, we are looking to see if and what changes we need to make to the calendar, and we will communicate these changes, if any, shortly, and you know, with certainly enough time for everybody to know what's happening during any one of our breaks.
So how can I request technology? We sent out a recent survey just to be able to understand the needs of our community for students and identify students who need technology so that we can continue to distribute those devices. That survey has been posted and sent out via ETRA and to our families. So we are working through the distribution right now as devices are prepped to ensure that our family receive devices. Families who signed up on that technology survey will receive a call from our office managers to set up a time for pickup. Just want to let you know to please be on the lookout for future surveys. just in reference to once we get through the priority students who have been identified for a need, there will be future surveys for a continual distribution. And we just want to point out that we have had some families to request for hotspots. We have distributed those hotspots, but just know that there is a shortage overall within the New Orleans regional area for hotspots. We are currently in contact with our broadband providers to find just solutions in finding more hotspots so that we can be prepared to fulfill the need for hotspots.
I would also like to say that if parents who have received the technology, please know that there has been an incredibly global surge of and purchase of devices, particularly Chromebooks. And so I know that there are schools, because we have been reached out to, there are schools that were not able to get Chromebooks. So we were lucky to say that we received our orders, but some schools did not. And so there are shortages of computers and shortages of chargers. And therefore, if you did receive a computer and a charger, please make sure that you keep these in good orders and and don't try to keep track of chargers and devices, because it will be difficult to have substitutions. And again, this is due to a global shortage of devices. So thank you for keeping that in mind.
So for French classes for first and second grade, many parents were asking, like, what is the schedule, my school schedule? All parents should have received a schedule for first and second grade classes. It started out as a modified schedule with only the English classes. Right now, parents should have schedules with English classes and the elective classes, which are in French and English, and it should incorporate TOC, music, STEM, and PE.
Okay, so PE uniforms for middle and high schoolers were put in over the summer through the registration system and directly with the vendor. So the vendor had hoped to have had them ready to distribute at meet and greet and did not meet that deadline. However, they will have them ready in September. So we'll coordinate some more materials pickup day, because some of the teachers who didn't have time to get everything ready for meet and greet, also they'll want to have some materials distributed in mid-September. So we will send out word when we have the dates and times worked out in mid-September for times to come pick up PE uniforms. If there's anyone who wants them immediately, the vendor, it's Novative, like N.Ovative. You can email me if you want their direct email contact. He said he will coordinate with families who want them before that time. And when we return to in-person schooling, we will definitely do another opportunity to get PE uniforms, and we'll have a grace period until that is all worked out, because there will be a little bit of turnaround for that. And in terms of PE for credit, we are very much encouraging kids to have a variety of outdoor activities, physical fitness activities, because of course virtual PE is very limiting on what they can do, and we want kids to stay physically fit. But at Johnson campus, our two French PE teachers, when they're cleared to work, will begin focusing mainly on middle high school, where their official assignment is. They're also going to be making videos for the upper elementary. So students do need to watch those videos and to learn from the teachers directly for the PE component of their formal education. But we're very encouraging of all other outdoor activities or physical activities of any nature. So for benchmark testing, I'll just start at the bottom and then pass it to Danielle here. Johnson Upper Elementary has not gotten to happen yet through a variety of things out of our control. So it is rescheduled for next Friday, September 4th. So that's all 3rd through 5th graders will have their sessions of MAP instead of their classes for that day. Middle high school is finished, and there will be makeups for both middle high school and for upper elementary on September 25th. So that is a PD day. So students are not scheduled to have school that day, but students who need to do makeup sessions will be contacted, parents will be contacted and scheduled for their makeup sessions for MAP on that day.
For the Patton campus, we have completed benchmarks. About 90% of the benchmark testing has been already completed. We're hoping to complete all benchmark testing September the 4th. You will receive just a follow-up call in reference to scheduling your benchmark testing.
Okay, the next question has to do with, it's for parents who with work schedules or appointments that conflict with live lessons. Can these be made up without penalty? So our focus really is student success. So yes, we encourage attending many live lessons as possible, of course, because there's also that interaction, etc. But we also understand that sometimes that work schedule or again, computer glitched power, loss of, power in the home, etc., can be contributing factors. And so we certainly don't want to penalize students for that. So the completion of their asynchronous videos, which are recorded from the live instruction, will also count for attendance purposes. The students will have some things that some assignments that they will need to do, and those will count. So again, focus on student success and making sure that students don't feel that anxiety of not being able to complete assignments or not being able to follow the lesson if they cannot. We definitely want to avoid that. So again, social emotional learning and trauma-informed practices are also part of what we do and why we make these decisions. Those are very important. We don't want to create more stress, both on families and students. And again, communicate to your teachers as much as possible for any concerns that you have regarding your child's progress. We also have a care team who will be working with parents when there are situations of critical situations of concerns, or parents who just are not sure. We have set up something in place so that we can bridge those concerns through our counseling department and other staff members that can communicate with you, listen to your concerns, and bring solutions. So communicate with us, stay in touch, and communicate primarily through your teacher, but we have a team of people that are out there and ready to provide support. Oh, there was a question about the HEPA filter and whether they're used for their air conditioning system. I just wanted to mention, and we checked in with our facility, with the COO, or the Chief Operating Officer, and facility director, who told us that and updated us on the fact that at Patton campus, we made major HVAC upgrades, air conditioning upgrades, so that the air circulation is much better, and we use proper and recommended filters for that particular system. And at Johnson campus, we actually just completed a $500,000 significant upgrade to the existing HVAC system, and that allows for much more fresh air intake. We asked the company about HEPA filters, and they advised against the use of these filters because they will reduce the system performance. And so the answer would be no, but the filters that are existing are appropriate for the system. And again, providing that good fresh air and air intake and circulation. Another question was if after October 30th school resumes, whether full-time or hybrid, will LFNO allow students to continue to learn virtually? And the answer is yes. We understand that some parents are not comfortable with in-person learning, especially if the situation stays how it is right now, or maybe only slightly changes. So we basically will have to see what the community spread is and make decisions regarding that. So we'll communicate to families, ahead of time, of course, so that everybody would know what our continuation of classes is. But yes, if we come in full-time or hybrid, there will be a virtual option, with the idea and understanding that it may be different than the current virtual structure, because it will depend on parental requests, whether we have 3 families in a class asking, or whether we have, a much larger number of students, and also staff capacity. Again, we will communicate all of this as we get closer to the time when we return in person, and we will continue the conversation and the communications with you regarding that. But that is currently the plan.
So there was a question in reference to French supplies and the voluntary $95 supply fee. So some of those supplies were already distributed at meet and greet. Some were distributed as students, will be distributed when we return in person. And also we have purchased some digital copies of French educational materials for use. So the $95 fee and the supplies, students will be able to use those supplies, whether we're in the virtual setting or whether we're in the in-person setting. So there's a question in reference to, will students have homework during the virtual session? So basically students will be assigned independent work, depending on their grade level. And that independent work can be completed. There's been time allotted in the schedule to complete independent work. It's not necessarily homework. Students should have time within that schedule to complete if they have not finished any work during the day. That time is built within the schedule. Students also have support time during the school day if they have questions or if they need assistance. And basically it will be based on, and Hannah, you may want to speak to this, like the quantity of schoolwork is obviously based on the grade level. And for older students, they will spend time out of class basically on reading and completing those assignments.
Yes, sorry, it took me some time to get back to the right page. Yes, just to add to that, as Danielle said, it's a large part of this is age appropriate, grade appropriate. So there is time built in for a student who is being studious in class and utilizing their academic support time well to complete schoolwork during school. However, we know everyone works at different speeds. We want to make sure that kids get as much support from teachers as possible given the virtual environment. We are not creating a situation where students would be full schoolwork during the day and then expected full homework at night. Rather, based on everyone's different working speeds, especially at the higher grades, middle school and starting to be in high school, there would be some expected outside of class, readings or assignment completions, but the gross majority should be able to be completed between 8:30 and 3:30 daily.
So there have been many questions in reference to what apps would I need for each lesson. All students will use the main platform, which is Google Classroom. Apps will be dependent upon the grade level. In the pre-K through second grade at Patton, teachers will provide information on what those apps will be used for their grade level. And then there's also communication that will be provided specifically from teachers on what apps will be used for their specific class.
We have a question. I feel the need to hover over my child's shoulders or listen to the instructions along with him. Is this normal, and should I allow the process and communicate through the instructor's email, which are very thoughtful and thorough? And for that, we thank you for that parenthesis. We really thank you, the parent who was so thoughtful to actually mention that as well. And so we really need to understand that we are working in an environment that is so different and so unfamiliar. And so I would say that this is a normal reaction. You want to know what your child is doing. And so you want to be there and you want to be participatory, especially now in the beginning. I would say that that's a very, very normal reaction. This also depends on the grade level, right? But we certainly want to foster that autonomy and that independence and make sure that your child stays and continues to be engaged. we we actually received some very interesting emails that were a parent saying, "I really did not know how, a 4-year-old would, do live classrooms via the computer, and that we were completely surprised, and we thought that it was magic, with teachers dancing and singing and doing all kinds of very engaging activities." And so, that kind of engagement the child will be able to handle on their own, even if they're very young. And so, I would imagine that in the beginning it's very a logical process and a normal process to be there, but moving away and just being observer from the background, and then certainly communicate with the teacher and have a very strong and authentic communication with the teacher if you have any concerns. And that would be a better avenue to assist your child, but allowing that independence to develop is important. Um, the One of the silver lining about this whole virtual thing is that we are certainly developing students that have 21st century skills at their fingertips. We have noticed, for example, our teachers have noticed that students do not have perhaps all of the refined skills of copy, pasting, and doing all of those things, or just using Google Docs, or using the things that you would think they would be able to do, because all of their world is app related. There's a lot of app type of, that they have a lot of dexterity there, and they understand, and they're very intuitive there. But there's a lot of other learning that they're doing, which is going to really be helping them out also as they go to, college, secondary school, college, and career. So there's again a great learning curve there as well, and a lot that they're learning in the technology area that that is we're very happy to see developing and happening. So pulling back a little bit, and again, talk to your teacher if you have any concerns. Keep those strong, authentic, very close relationship with the teachers. And again, like I said earlier, we will provide support in the areas of need.
So I think we talked about this a little bit early on in the slide. The question surrounds parents receiving a weekly overview email of what homework is due for students in each class. Again, for the Lower Campus, students will have assignment with specific deadlines, and this information will be posted in Google Classroom. All communications basically will, regarding assignments, will be communicated in Google Classroom. Again, there is time that is built into the schedule as far as like independent work time to allow for the students to complete any work that they have not completed during the day during that 8:30 to 3:30 time frame. Also, beginning from grades 3, students will receive emails once teachers add a posting to Google Classroom. And just as a parent of a 4th grade student and an 8th grade student, I kind of monitor the emails that both my boys receive. So I would just encourage parents to kind of monitor your child's inbox, because again, once that teacher posts something on Google Classroom, your student should receive an email. If for some reason you're not receiving an email or you don't receive correspondence, we would just encourage you to just stay in contact with your teacher. And if you're having any type of issues on how to access Google Classroom, please reach out to your teacher for more information.
Yeah, and I would just add that the middle school, high schoolers have gone through an orientation. They've gone through the practice several times of accessing and knowing where different things are stored in their Google Classroom. So of course, practice always helps, but some of the older students should be at this point fairly independent and should be able to show parents where things are stored if you need to refer to something as well.
Being outside of an immersive environment for so long, my daughter's French comprehension has suffered. How will LFNO assist students in getting back on track? So this is, again, not a situation that is isolated to one student. It's pretty much all of our students have gone through the same experience, and so there it's it's been benchmarked, right? And so this is a conversation that our academic teams have had as they were preparing the curriculum for this year, and they've done an incredible amount of work. But project-based learning, interdisciplinary curricular plan are those that have been created in order to build the French language into several different classes in several different ways, and doing some crossovers in terms of vocabulary and also language development. We have also brought in some content areas that were some classes that were not in French last year. For example, the PE class, art and PE and other electives also offered in French. And so there will be a strong focus on language and vocabulary development also in these other areas. I was just speaking to the PE teacher the other day. Actually was at a function at Alliance Française, and he was talking about, I was asking him specifically, how do you teach PE? And he had all of these wonderful plans that included anatomy, that included movement, calling out a lot of vocabulary that has to do with movement, with places. He would do lessons with the background of the Saint stadiums or the Pelican Stadium, but also then stadiums in France, and talking about differences and all that. So the vocabulary is going to be built across the board and across the content to get the kids to bring it back up.
So when we're thinking about teachers being absent in this context, I think first of all, we have to just reflect on the context of what leads to teacher absences. And on the one hand, people still get sick. People still have to have a root canal, etc. So there might be some occasions in which a teacher misses half of a day or a day for a reason that we can't stop, prevent, handle. However, I think there will be many fewer absences, already just in discussing this with our teachers at this time, because there are no festivals to go to. There are no family members to come visit you from France to show around the city. There are no great day trips really going on right now. There's not as much, we all know, right, that might take teachers out of the classroom. And in the event that a teacher does have serious medical, or there would be an ongoing several day absence, would most definitely set up a sub for those situations. However, something where if the teacher is just too ill on that day to teach, we will have sub materials available for students to work on during the day. But given the context of the virtual classroom, there would not be a substitute teacher in the Google Classroom leading those activities. So for the most part, if it's a last minute emergency one day kind of absence, the course would just be canceled for that day with materials for the students to be working on.
The synchronous part will be canceled for the day.
And of course, if it's a French homeroom teacher in elementary, the English teacher would still be there. So there would still be some courses. Every kid would have some courses every day. If it's the reverse, if the English teacher is absent, then it would just be the English that was missed. So it wouldn't be the case where a student would have absolutely no live sessions for the day.
So will Lise go back to in-person learning if other NOLA public schools will do so after Labor Day? So we talked about this earlier in the previous communications, and when we were developing our plans for our students, we wanted rigor and consistent instruction were the two, and clarity to parents were some of the major tenets. And so we made the decision to offer virtual classes for the first trimester, so that parents would be able to make plans, to make good plans, and to stick to those plans for a period of time. We did not want to run into situations like we've seen in our city when instructions begin, and then after 3-4 days or a week, school closes and stays closed for a month and then reopens. And it's hard for family to make plans when things happen like on the spur of the moment, and you got to find childcare for a virtual environment on the spur of the moment. So we were concerned that this shifting of instructional setting would be detrimental to instruction, and therefore we wanted to make sure that we offered, that kind of consistency. Now, the consideration for opening in person will be done as data will become available from other schools, and we will definitely gauge the safety of in-person reopening. We ask our families to be flexible. We're going to try to, operate by the same tenets as well. However, all decisions that we make are made with the community members' safety in mind, parents, students, staff, faculty, and we will continue to communicate with you very closely on all of this as we move forward. And that ends our session. These were the questions that we have received from families, parents, and those are the information that we got, that the questions that were still unanswered or that needed clarity as per the survey. We will continue to do these cafes or town halls as we will continue throughout the year, so that we can provide again with clarity and provide even a forum for us to be able to see each other and interact this way. Again, remember that we will continue as questions come to us. We will continue to update the FAQ section of our website. We will also add this PowerPoint presentation and these questions, and again, reach out to our team, to our administrators, to your teachers, ask questions, and stay in touch. And we will provide you with as much information as we can. Hannah, Danielle, I don't know if you want to add something else.
I just want to say thank you to our community for just your appreciation that I've heard from many parents, and communication when there has been some issues with the things that have occurred during this virtual learning. Know that there is no playbook for virtual school. I appreciate our team and the work that they're continuing to do, our academics team, our operations team, facilities team, all of our teachers, and our students and our parents. I truly believe that we will get through this time together. And I truly believe in the power and the spirit of our community as lycée. And I just want to say thank you to parents for being a part of this discussion, and thank you to all of our staff for the work that you do every day. And
Hannah.
Yes, absolutely. I think Danielle took the sentiments right out of my heart. I think this is a really hard time for everyone. And I have just seen, heard, witnessed, experienced so much grace from all parties. So parents who are here tonight, who are every day supporting your students as a parent, as a teacher in so many ways that you wouldn't have expected, thank you. And I also just really appreciate the positive, constructive feedback that we've gotten in so many ways, because as Danielle said, no one's ever done this before. So we're working really hard to do the best we can. And with so many minds on that want to make this a really successful experience, I feel like we've been able to pivot and improve pretty rapidly with the positive, supportive community we have. So thank you to all of you for what you're doing above and beyond, and we're going to keep doing the same in every way.
And I want to echo these sentiments. Thank you for the conversations that you've had with us in person, for those emails that you send. When you're calling the class magic, that means so much to us, to the teachers. And please know that to get where we are today, there's a team of people behind the scenes, the academic team, the leadership team, the exceptional student services team, communication, meal services, all kinds of people that are coming together, and it's like gigantic movement of people that are like there to try to make sure that we check all of our boxes, that we do all that we need to do in order to serve your families and students. And our nurses, our deans, our counselors, everybody is there. There's an incredibly dedicated and motivated number of people here at Lycée that is there to serve you and your students. And I want to thank them and applaud them, because the work that has been done has been gigantic. It's been, unprecedented. That's the word, but very, very strong. And we have a good plan moving forward. And we hope that you will be satisfied with all that we have to offer, that your students are happy, that they're connecting with their friends online. And again, parents, families, guardians, please stay connected and let us know, again, anything that we can do to make things better. So we thank you for these questions, and we hope that we have more moving forward, so that we can continue to maintain that two-way conversation and make Lycée the best place where your children can learn.
And please say hello to your children, because we miss them a lot.
And hug them too, for us, right? Give them a hug for us. Okay, so thank you for the notes on the chat. And again, till the next time, and have a good evening.